1965 was a magical year for music, a time when the world was changing rapidly, and music was a reflection of that transformation. The decade of the 60s had already begun with a bang, but in 1965, something special happened. Songs that not only defined an era, but became timeless anthems, pieces that today, 60 years later, we still listen to and celebrate. So today, we're going to talk about 10 legendary songs from 1965. Those that marked a before and after in the history of music. Before we start this video, remember to subscribe and like it. Let's start with a song that is, without a doubt, one of the greatest icons of rock and roll. I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. This song not only catapulted the Stones to worldwide fame, but also became an anthem of rebellion and discontent. With that unmistakable guitar riff, created by Keith Richards, and Mick Jagger's attitude-laden voice, Satisfaction captured the essence of a generation that was tired of the established norms. The song was an instant hit and reached the top of the charts worldwide. But interestingly, at the time, the lyrics were considered controversial, even censored on some radio stations. Today, however, it is a classic that continues to be played everywhere, from stadiums to TV commercials. Speaking of classics, we can't forget Yesterday by the Beatles. This ballad, written by Paul McCartney, is one of the most covered songs in history. Did you know that McCartney dreamt the melody? Yes. He literally woke up one morning with the music in his head, and at first thought he had plagiarized it from somewhere. But no, it was original, and with the help of John Lennon and George Martin, Yesterday was born. The song is simple in structure, but deeply emotional. It speaks of nostalgia, of loss, of that universal feeling of looking back and remembering what is gone. And although it was released in 1965, its message still resonates with people of all ages. But if we talk about songs that changed everything, we have to mention Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone. This song was not only a commercial success, but also revolutionized popular music. At 6 minutes long, it broke the rules of what was considered a single at the time. The lyrics, poetic and full of imagery, are a raw portrait of the downfall of someone who had everything and lost it. Dylan, with his nasal voice and unique style, managed to create a song that is as much a social critique as it is a work of art. Like a Rolling Stone was a watershed in Dylan's career and in music in general, opening the door to a new kind of song narrative. And while Dylan was changing folk, the Byrds were fusing it with rock on Mr. Tambourine Man. This song, written by Dylan but popularized by the Byrds, is a perfect example of how music can evolve. With its jangle pop sound and vocal harmonies, Mr. Tambourine Man became a massive hit and helped define the sound of the 1960s. The lyrics, full of surreal images, have been interpreted in 1,000 ways. But what is clear is that it is an invitation to let yourself be carried away by the music, to get lost in its magic. If you are liking the video, remember to subscribe and leave your like. Changing genre, but not quality, we come to Stop in the Name of Love by the Supremes. This song is a perfect example of the Motown sound, the one that combined soul, pop, and a touch of elegance. Diana Ross and the Supremes took this song to the top of the charts, and it's not hard to see why. With its catchy chorus and iconic choreography, Stop in the Name of Love became an anthem of love and heartbreak. And even though 60 years have passed, it's still one of those songs you can't help but sing along to when you hear it. Another song we can't leave out is You Really Got Me by the Kinks. This song is considered by many to be the first example of hard rock. With that distorted guitar riff and raw energy, You Really Got Me was a revelation at the time. The song was written by Ray Davies, who sought to capture the energy and frustration of youth, and boy, did he succeed. This song not only influenced bands like The Who and Led Zeppelin, but also laid the foundations for what would later become punk rock. And if we're talking about influence, we have to mention My Girl by The Temptations. This song is pure happiness in music form. With its upbeat melody and love-filled lyrics, My Girl became an instant classic. David Ruffin's voice is simply perfect, full of emotion and warmth. And although it has been covered countless times, no version has ever managed to capture the magic of the original. My Girl is one of those songs that makes you smile, no matter how many times you've heard it. But it wasn't all love and happiness in 1965. My Generation, by The Who, was a rallying cry for the youth of the time. With its famous line, "Hope I die before I get old," the song became an anthem of youthful rebellion. The raw energy and defiant attitude of My Generation made it an instant hit, and its influence can be felt in later generations of musicians. Another song we can't forget is Otis Redding's Respect. Although Aretha Franklin's version is better known, Redding's original is just as powerful. The song is a demand for respect, both in love and in life. Redding, with his voice full of passion, managed to create a song that is both personal and universal. And although Aretha's version gave it a feminist twist that made it even more iconic, Redding's original remains a masterpiece. Last but not least, we have Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers. This ballad is pure emotion. With its beautiful melody and nostalgic lyrics, Unchained Melody became a massive hit and has been covered countless times. But it is the Righteous Brothers version that remains the most beloved. Bobby Hatfield's vocals are simply stunning, full of intensity and feeling. And although the song was released in 1965, it gained a new life in the 90s thanks to the movie Ghost. Today, it remains one of the most beautiful ballads ever recorded. These 10 songs are just a sample of the musical richness of 1965, a year when music was constantly evolving, when artists dared to experiment and break the rules. These songs not only defined an era, but also laid the groundwork for everything that came after. And the amazing thing is that, 60 years later, they still sound fresh, relevant, and full of life. So the next time you hear any of these songs, take a moment to appreciate their legacy. Because these are not just songs, they are pieces of history. And as always, thanks for joining me on this musical journey. See you in the next video. What is truly amazing about these songs is how they managed to encapsulate not only the spirit of a revolutionary decade, but also emotions so human that they continue to move us today. When Mick Jagger sang of dissatisfaction, or Dylan portrayed the fall of pride, they were speaking universal truths that transcend epochs. In a world where music has become ephemeral, these 1965 pieces stand as beacons of authenticity, reminding us that great songs are not just hits, but mirrors that reflect the best, and sometimes the rawest, of the human soul. In the age of algorithms and automated playlists, these tunes force us to ask, what songs of today will be remembered with the same reverence 60 years from now? As always, if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. See you in the next video.